Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel, Wake Up and Live. This is Bob. Um, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe, like, and share my videos as they do have a wealth of information pertaining to Jamaica and the African diaspora in general. All right, and so today I want to talk to you about Jamaicans should not expect to find paradise when they actually migrate, and this stands for just about any immigrant, not just Jamaicans. Of course, every year thousands of people migrate to different countries in search of work. All right. Host countries, these host countries are usually countries that are very industrial or have stable economies and stable politics. But it's important to know that economics is relative. It is relative to the country that you're in, meaning what might be considered wealthy in your country in the host country might be something different. And by that I mean take Jamaica for example. All right. In Jamaica, wealthy tends to mean that you own the land you live on. The bank doesn't own it. Or the house you're in, you built it room by room, porch by porch, and you know everything. You built it, you owned it. You don't, there's nothing on it, or things like that. Or you do have a big savings. In the United States, for example, um, y- wealth might have to do with how much credit you have, how much line of credit is offered to you on a credit card you have or are open to you to use. It's common for people who are not doing well to not even have $5,000 in the bank. It's mostly credit. You live in a house that it's mortgaged. The bank owns it, but you have 35 years or so of mortgage left to pay off on it. Or you have a car, you're driving a car that you walked into the dealership, you didn't pay any money down on it, but because of your credit meaning how well you have paid your bills on time and how much money you earn as a salary or stuff like that, your credibility economically, because of that was good, you could walk into a dealership and walk out with a car the same day, but technically you don't own the car because the bank still owns it. And you probably have 5 years to pay for it before you actually own it. Even the shirt on your back. Sometimes it's a store credit card that you purchase with you. You don't own it until you pay off for it. And everybody who's used a credit card before knows you could buy $200 worth of clothing and it could take you forever to pay off for it because it adds on to the balances that you have there and how it's broken down for you. You could end up paying a whole lot more money than just that $200. So the point is, wealth is actually relative. So yes, the host countries, many of them actually, we need to be mindful. Many of them will, while they'll provide you a high standard of living, meaning you could have a TV in every room, washing machine, a fridge in just about every house, a microwave, or things like that. It while that might be so, the country itself may not be providing you a higher quality of life, and high standard of living and high quality of life are not exactly the same thing. All right. A high quality of life could be something like do you have a beach you could go to without having to pay? Do you have fresh air? Do you have means of getting away from work? Do you not working yourself to the bone as much, but you are living well still? Just stuff like that could mean a higher quality of life, and you have to learn the difference between both of them. So host countries don't necessarily offer the quality of life as opposed to the standard of living, which makes my point. You should not expect to go you're going to paradise when you migrate. All right. um, y- uh, migrating, you could important for you to know, you could easily end up in a life of servitude where you get up every single day working, working, working just to stay alive, and you're living, always living two or one paycheck away from hunger or poverty. And you know, it requires a life of continuous work in order for you to survive. All right, so that is something we need to be mindful, because you could easily be owned by the system, meaning you're owned by the market. You know, a system of algorithm decide whether or not you qualify for credit, or you qualify for, for a mortgage in a bank, or just stuff like that. You could just be owned by the system, right? If that makes sense to you. Okay, so yes, while migrating do sometimes bring some fortune to you, you have to be mindful that you're understanding whether or not what you're experiencing is actually prosperity. All right. A lot of people, having migrated, have made good fortunes because they were either prepared, they were prepared, and had the opportunity. For most, however, it's going to be work, 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 as work, work, just work. All right. You have to be prepared and be mindful for that. Don't come with lofty ideas of money hanging off trees, and you know you just need to come one year and you're rich. That's not so. I've heard a lot of people, especially West Africans. I've heard it from Nigerians many times, where they think if you just land here, all of a sudden the idea of just coming here itself is going to make you prosperous. Not true. Okay, it's a lot of work, and most of the time, because most people take for example United States, most people here are in the United States are not rich and will never get rich, because there's a status quo of 2% owning everything, 20% managing it for the 2%, like CEOs and managers and so forth. um, and then there's a permanent underclass of 78% that generates the wealth for the 2% at the top. They are consumers. They don't produce anything. They're consumers. They're workers. They keep the wheels of industry turning. And I don't need to tell you the rest of it, but that's just how it is. That's a reality of living in industrialized countries like the United States, for example. All right. So again, it is important to understand that oftentimes when you migrate for greener pastures, the prosperity you gather or you earn, it simply occurred because where the host country that you're in, you are doing things that you were not prepared to do in your own country while you were there, and they were actually the things you needed to have been doing in order to be prosperous. But instead, you, for whatever reason, pride or whatever reason, you wouldn't do it there. But then you do it while you're in the host country abroad, and therefore you have experienced some marginal prosperity. All right. Again, remember that sometimes the paradise that you're looking for abroad is actually the paradise you're leaving behind. All right. So again, thank you for watching. This is Wake Up and Live with Bob. And if the video helped you or make any sense to you, please subscribe, like, and share my videos. All right. Thank you again for watching.